Hello and welcome to episode 6 of the Smart Home Collective. Tonight I am delighted to be joined by Lewis from Everything Smarthome and Frank from Home Assistant team at Nabu Casa. Gents, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Very good, yeah. Thank you.
Good.
How are you?
Very fine.
I'm very good, thank you. Very good. Lewis, I'll start with you.
Oh, no.
YouTube
boy.
channel been going for just over a year.
Just over a year, yeah. I think
20
a year and 3 weeks or something, 4 weeks.
22,000 subscribers, which is pretty good for a year, and 61 videos. So you've been putting out a video more than 1.2 every week.
Yeah, one a week, and then the occasional week I've maybe managed to sneak 2 in.
How did you? Because quite a lot, and Frank's straight away thinking, "Fucking hell, that's a lot."
That's a lot. Yeah,
that's a lot in such a short space of time. How did you get into it?
I think I started writing maybe guides on the website, so Home Assistant guides on a website, and I was thinking, I wonder how I can sort of maybe reach more people or sort of a wider audience, so to say, and so started doing YouTube. But it was a very very scary thing to start to get into. So, but yeah, once I just sort of committed to making a video or committed to uploading, I'm very much an all or nothing type person. So once I did the first upload, I was like, okay, I'll have to do this once a week now.
But you're enjoying it, which is the main thing.
Yeah. It's at the start it was very nerve-wracking, but yeah, it's a lot easier now, and a lot more easier to record. I've got like a whole sort of process in place to make sure kind of to make the whole thing a lot easier. So,
and you've got that lovely setup behind you, whereas it's in me and Frank, we've got just like a house behind us, and you've got the whole.
I'm in my living room, so it's not that. Especially if I look behind, like what I always wonder is like if you demo something, like how do you do that? Because the computer is behind you. Like that's like you have like is it a computer for decoration or something? I don't. It's fun to see. Like
that's my main setup. So,
right.
yeah,
So,
no.
And then you work from a laptop or something in front of you, right?
Just now, yeah. Yeah, laptop just now, but yeah, it's annoying because there's mirrors on the other way, so I can't record from that computer because otherwise I'd just be looking at a mirror the entire time.
No, very good.
Right.
What's the kind of, I don't want to say what's the target, because it's on YouTube, it should be natural, but in your mind, do you know where you want to take it, or are you just kind of going as it flows to see if I get to 30,000, if I get to 100,000, what is it, or are you just taking it as each video as it comes?
Just every video as it comes, every day as it comes. No real, I want to get to this or I want to get to this. I'm already 22,000 more than I ever thought was possible or I would ever get. So yeah, just happy taking each video as it goes.
How do you come up with like 61 different subjects even? Like you now already had 61, right? Like if you're continuing this route, then you have to come up with another 61 the upcoming year. Like how are you going to achieve that? Like do you have like a method for that, or?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, you guys provide me with a lot of content when you do new features and releases. That maybe gives me one video a month that I can do. So, but yeah, that's probably the hardest thing for me is ideas.
So if we take it slow, you've got a problem.
Yeah. If you start slowing down, I'm done for.
Interesting.
And I will say, listen, in addition to the YouTube channels, the video, you've got a really good Discord group.
Oh, thank you.
And really, I mean, and I know when I was trying to set up the Odroid, I mean, I was in your Discord channel, and fantastic group and community in there. So you've not only got a really good channel, you've actually supplemented it with a really nice community. So well done.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, there's just about 2,000 people in there. So yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's really good.
Great. Frank, on to you.
Oh boy.
So for the people who are not Home Assistant addicts, you might not know who Frank is. For the people who are, enough said, you'll know who Frank is. But for those who are not, Frank was previously known for his Home Assistant add-on streams on Twitch. Going back
Yeah,
5 years.
No, is it that long?
I think it must.
No, it's not.
There's
My
when you start-
son, no, my son became 4 this last weekend,
Okay.
and actually I started like 2 weeks after his birthday,
Okay.
after he was born. So that's now 4 years almost.
4 years. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 years. So that's where you kind of started. That's where you were. They were fantastic. I mean, I know we spoke before we started recording. It was yourself. It was Ben from Broad Automation. It was Dr. Z's. You were in my mind, the OGs of the Home Assistant streams. You're nodding away.
No,
You were.
I'm not OG.
You were. But from there, you then was picked up and hired by Paulus when that joined the Nabu Casa team, which was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does that
2 years? Yeah, 2 years. Damn.
going from what was the hobby? Because you obviously
No.
you had a day job when you were doing your streams. I assume you weren't just a homeless person with a laptop in the street. You had a hobby, which then became your job. So did the job and hobby merge?
It wasn't actually my hobby. It is so weird. Like the first year I was doing all this, I didn't even had Home Assistant running in my own. I didn't use it myself, which was really odd. But I like doing and contributing and programming and contributing some stuff and fixing some problems and seeing what other people are doing with the things you do.
Mm-hmm.
And they just blow at least they blew my mind every day. I still, until this day, I see people doing stuff with the things you do and create, or with everybody is creating and contributing, that nobody ever imagined it was possible. And that's so cool to see, and that gives me energy. And doing streams as well at the time, that gives me a lot of energy. It also cost a lot of energy, but it gave a lot of energy. Yeah.
And I mean, I was on Twitch open at the moment. The last time you streamed was 2 years ago, and there's a good highlight still on Twitch where Paulus comes in and surprises you.
Oh yeah, right.
It's still there, and I remember that night. It was so. If anybody want to go hop into Twitch, check out Franck's.
Yeah, that was so weird,
Frank's,
and everybody knew.
Yeah,
everybody knew, including my girlfriend, the Ninja knew, and Paul's knew, and everybody in the Home Assistant team knew except me. And I remember that night because I was so freaking tired. I said to my girlfriend, "I'm not going to stream tonight. I'm going to skip tonight." And she was pushy. That was already like a bit weird, and well, it was great. It was super fun. It was the first time I met Paulus. Yeah,
it's a good moment. So definitely, guys, go into Twitch, check out Franck's channel. It's the only video that's still there, but it was really good, really good. Okay, Franck, I'll stick with you then.
Oh,
in terms of I don't know if there's an expectation in the community of you're so involved with the add-ons, therefore people would assume that in your home you've got a phenomenally running, all singing, all dancing smart home, which I know is probably not the truth. So I'm curious.
You're considering on putting this on YouTube, right? I can show you my smart home right now.
What's your setup like?
My setup. So this is my setup.
Okay. So for the listeners, it's just a big box of
devices. Electronic. And I got a couple more. No, but in general, like I'm not sure what the English term for it is. Like you have a saying in the Netherlands, like with the painter's home is always the home that needs a lot of painting. So I think the English term is the plumber. I think always has leaks or something at home. Yeah, that's probably really true. For me especially, if something pops up or I see something interesting, I'm going to try. I have a lot of different devices just to try, and my home is inconsistent in devices that I have. Like nothing is the same. It's all flaky and not working. I debugged something and changed some configs around and hooked my system up onto the development machine, or stuck some development code in my production machine, and like it all blows up all the time. And
God, I feel so much better about my house than yeah, I feel good.
I cannot can honestly not say that I'm automating my home. I work a lot on it. I actually try to like put aside a Sunday, and then today I'm going to fix at least the kitchen, or at least the living room. I'm going to do some with the lights and some scenes, just a small task. And then I'm going to sit down and actually do it. And then I run into a bug, or I run into something, hey, this could be helpful if we tweak this little thing. And before you know it, then you're coding and writing tests and finish it in on Monday morning, when actually the day job normally starts, then finishing it off. And then it will be in a release, and Sunday is gone. And I'm still with like a half broken system that I left behind the last day. So I don't know. What does my system look like? I have many home system instances running, all different kinds of instances with a lot of different devices, and nothing works. Yeah.
I have to say that's not what I was expecting at all.
No? Okay.
Yeah, I thought you'd have like the
gold standard.
Yeah. Setting the bar for everyone else to follow, you know.
A lot of people do, actually, right? Because of one of my GitHub repos, I at the time I made like a different approach to splitting your configuration and stuff. A lot of people have been following that. Yeah, but I created that because I was solving a problem. Like, this could be more helpful and be done better. And instead of automating my home, I started splitting up my config and published something about that. And well, then it was Monday again, and it was even worse, right? So it's always the same story for me. And yeah, maybe I try again upcoming Sunday. I'll let you know.
Basically it's a mess. Fine, we get it, it's a mess. But have you any new additions, purchases, or anything you've integrated recently that has worked well, and you're thinking, this is top dollar?
My latest purchase is a couple of Shellys, actually, which are currently on route. I hoped to receive the package today, but nope. But I still got one Shelly 1 PM on my desk, power monitor, which I want to do something with. And I bought one of those Philips Hue outdoor sensors, motion sensors. I heard these were really great. I don't have any of those outdoors. So I was thinking maybe I could put one outdoors, and then on a Sunday, write an automation or something. So, but this is on my desk for 3 weeks already. So it's working really well. And yeah, that's my latest purchase. So in terms of things I've recently changed, the most like drastic change in my setup, I think it would be, I made another switch to a different Zigbee setup. So I originally went for decons, then I went to ZHA and Home Assistant, and now I am Zigbee to MQTT. And I've actually been doing a couple of like changes to Zigbee to MQTT to make it more working better with Home Assistant. So it's kind of nice to see that, like Koen Kanters, who actually has that project, I did a couple of open source PRs to that project to make the integration more tightly integrated with Home Assistant and more as expected. And I really like how that is going. But essentially, it's the same thing as the story I told before. Like I went on a Sunday and tried another Zigbee solution and ended up contributing to Zigbee to MQTT to make it better. And at this point, it's still not like... No, I actually unscrewed one of the light bulbs last night before I went to bed because, well, it didn't turn off. So yeah, I had to do something, right? So I'm not sure what to tell you. I got a nice Philips Hue outside motion thingy. That's my latest edition.
Here's the challenge then. See when that's up and running, take a picture of it so we can see it.
It's paired though. It's paired. Yeah, no, it's difficult, right? Yeah. But I honestly expect Lewis to do have a decent automation. Like he makes the videos, right? So he is actually like
perfect segue. Lewis, walk us to your dog's bollocks smart home.
No, very very much the same as Franck is.
I've got the two wrong guests on tonight.
Because yeah, well, so I'm like going through making a video and then I'm testing it out on my own system, and and also testing it out on my development system. And then sometimes usually I'll try and use the development system for recording and stuff, but sometimes you need devices that are only available in your main one. So then I kind of half do things for a video in my own one, and then I forget to go back and take it out. And so yeah, it's very similar to Franck's in that there's lots of devices, but maybe not all of them connected yet.
And there was me hoping you still have the fingerprint sensor in your hallway.
No, but I do want to. One Sunday, I'm gonna. One Sunday. Yeah, no, I do want to use that at some point again, but I want to revisit that with ESP Home. So I've taken that down for now.
Keep us posted. And in terms of any new additions, what's been your latest addition that you thought this is nice? I should have got this sooner.
I haven't bought anything for a while, I don't think.
Yeah, you must get loads of free stuff. Come on, 22,000 subscribers, you'll be getting loads of freebies.
Yeah, well, there's lots of offers for free stuff. Not all of it's very good. So a lot gets turned down. But yeah, no, I can't think of anything. I really don't have anything exciting like a lot of people.
What do you think? What is something that you think is exciting that other people have that you want to have? Like you think your own stuff isn't exciting. So what is it that other people do that excites you that you really want to have?
That's a good question, actually.
I'm not sure anybody has it, but one thing I do want is sort of individual room presence, but knowing which person
Holy
it is.
Grail.
Yeah,
he's talking about the Holy Grail of presence detection. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. There is some projects out there. I'm sure you've seen them, Franck, but they're not
there
quite
was a
there
project
yet.
back in the day that I really had my hopes up. It was Happy Bubbles.
Okay, haven't heard of that one.
No, it's already gone for a couple of years, right?
It sounds a bit sexual.
Yeah, well, like Happy Bubbles was those really little BLE Bluetooth scanners that could like detect the beacons and like you can do that with existing hardware, but this was like managed. Like you can have multiple in your home and it would figure out which one was closest. But then everything changes. Like mobiles now change their identification numbers on the BLE, and then the tags are not that good and not helpful, and I don't know. So everything went south from that point on. But there was a point in time that I thought that could be it. But right now I'm just lost. I think the best solution probably is just to put cameras in every room with actually image processing or something, and machine learn the persons that are in the room, which is
unless it's a wearable that's detecting perimeters within each room. I don't. There's been a few videos I've seen where your phone picks up the nearest Bluetooth device, but again, you're walking about your house with your phone. I agree, Lewis. I don't know what the solution is, but I think, Franck, you're right. That probably is the Holy Grail.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know what the solution is, but I want it, whatever it is.
I still love and fantasize over a tablet system within the house, purely because I still want. I want to use the Home Assistant dashboard. I want my family to use it. I want the wife to use it. I'm the only one who bloody looks at it. So the automations.
You should say that.
Yeah, the automations, they work so nicely in the background, and something breaks, then you get the dashboard out. But I love the idea in a nice swanky house, dashboards in different rooms, and in theory, it sounds great. Yeah, I don't know. Does anybody have the perfect tablet dashboard?
That's actually what I've been doing the last 2 weeks. That's been one of my projects, was doing the wall panels.
Mm-hmm. That's what I would like. But again, it would need to be so well integrated into the house that it's flush with the wall. There's no cables. It just looks. Yeah. It looks part of the house.
And then it's Android, and you're not getting updates anymore. And then you need like a new version, and then it doesn't fit in the hole in the wall. I guess there's a lot of future breaking stuff happening there. Well, that's actually holding me back from that kind of.
Yeah. And then that's the same. It's like you would have a device within 2 years, the device would be defunct. You need to take it out and change the size of the wall. Yeah, there's the whole host of problems with it. But I do like the idea of having a tablet. Okay, that was good. Good info there, guys. Moving on then. Sticking with Home Assistant for a little bit, Frank. The shift to the monthly releases.
Oh yeah.
How did that pan out?
I loved how we did it during the conference, how we presented the fact that we had a new version number and new release schedule. Like everybody was always like going crazy when it's 1.0.
Everyone lost their minds.
Everybody was going for 1.0. And I remember the day, I'm not sure, we talked about date versioning before, and somewhere in December or November, it was November, I was like, guys, should we just do that for a core repository as well, right? Because whatever we're going to do in the future, we will always keep having breaking changes. And if we say 1.0, people will still have expectations from that. And there are always breaking changes happening that maybe are not even our fault. And a lot of times it's not even our fault, or just improvements over time. And things change, it just happens. And we cannot fully prevent it. And maybe we should do that for core repository as well, right? And well, we had some discussion and decided to go for it, but that meant that everyone that ever worked for 1.0, including our team, will never see 1.0. So we decided to do it as the beta. So the beta was 1.0 and everybody was going nuts. Like, were topics everywhere when 1.0 is going to happen and being announced. And then we went on the conference. And I got to announce that 1.0 was never going to happen. So that was kind of nice. Yeah, I don't know. Was it joyful? I don't know. I think I personally look at it as something that we achieved. I think we truly achieved the 1.0. I think we're more stable than ever. In the last years, we got a beautiful new UI. We got lots of flexibility. Things are running pretty smooth. Breaking changes, like even though they're looking like a big list, it's always small stuff. Like upgrading is generally pretty painless nowadays. Yeah. And even if you mess up totally, you can get into the save mode that's now beneath it. And I dare you guys haven't seen save mode in a very long time. And that's a good sign, right?
Yeah.
So even that is in place. And I think we actually we went to 1.0. That's why the beta had 1.0. And now we're on Dayfair and we're doing the monthly releases. And I think it's great. I think it's a really consistent cycle. I think it's a little bit more than originally we had a 2-week cycle, then a 3-week, and now the monthly. I think everybody knows what's coming and when it's coming. I think everybody knows when the beta starts, which is the last Wednesday of the month. Well, the first Wednesday of the month is the release, right? I think it helps for everybody. Nobody asks for the calendar anymore, and nobody asks from, is it today already? And I think it helps. And the time span is a bit more for some more serious features as well, and for some fine tuning. I think it's okay.
Yeah, Lewis, I don't know your thoughts. I think it's panned out very well. I think that month gap is nice. You're in a new version. You're just taking your time to play around with the new add-ons, get familiar with it, and then waiting for the next one. And I think having the release party, it's certainly something to look forward to. On my calendar now is right when the release party. So I think it's panned out really well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think I do like the new naming scheme as well. It's a lot easier to remember than the old one. And yeah, I remember that day when people started finding the 1.0 beta online, and there was people posting in the server like, oh my God, they're going to release 1.0 this week. Or today or whenever, and like, oh yeah. And then I remember watching the release party, and then you just dropped that bombshell on us. Yeah, that was a good moment. So, but yeah, no, I appreciate the sort of the extra week in between releases. Just I think it gives you, like you say, it gives you a lot more time to just iron out any little any bugs. So yeah,
polish a bit more.
Yeah, there's certainly a noticeable difference in polish.
Was there any? I'm not fishing for an answer. Was there any really kind of vitriolic kickback from the community? Because it's a passionate community. well, there's no getting away. There's passionate people,
Every change.
and few of them.
No,
it's a very few that believe they're entitled.
No, it's every change you hit somebody, right?
Yeah.
It's you can like we're a big community, and it's you cannot please everybody with anything. Like you cannot have one thing that everybody's happy about. Like we dropped the energy stuff yesterday, and I'm pretty darn sure there are people that are totally not interested in it and annoyed by the button that's now in their menu. I'm not sure. I have not seen anybody complain about it, to be honest, but that's something that's in my head, right? And anything you do, like every sentence you write, every tweet you send out, every feature you add, or every little improvement that you're doing from good heart is somebody that is mad about it and doesn't like it. Pretty sure we changed something that you didn't like either. That just happens. That's part of the game, right? We're making so many changes and get so many contributions. It's like this release, we're almost 80 contributors, I think, or 90, and over 800 PRs, so over 800 contributions made, like changes. Like there's something in there that you don't like, I'm pretty sure. that's just how it works.
Yeah. And I suppose I don't want to be unfair in the open source community, but I think when it is open source, people almost feel they therefore have the right to air things in a way that's entitled. Not correct, Lewis. Yeah. They air things if demanding. If it was a Samsung made a change, or a Sony, or an Apple, they would be annoyed and they wouldn't say a word. But when it comes to open source, it's almost like they need to be keyboard warriors and attack those that are responsible for it. So I do feel for you at times.
Which is weird because it's the total opposite reaction of what you would expect, like people that are consuming free software, people that give up their free time to just contribute to a project. You would think people would be a lot more lenient or relaxed, not up in arms, but it's just
it's not just the contributors, right? Like there are many people that are contributing stuff and thinking like, hey, I can contribute this feature because I want it, so I want it in. And then you say no, and because, well, it's like a niche edge case, and if we add this, then we have to maintain it, right? So for the future, this will add energy and work for a niche, like really edge case that is probably just yours or a couple of people. So we should not add that because, well, it's not for the greater good.
Yeah.
And sometimes like selling that no, that is hard. And sometimes those no's explode actually on the internet, like having tweets about it and open forum topics or whatever happens. Like there's always that one person that explodes or what happens, and that's sometimes hard. But it's not just the contributors, it's also the people that are using it, right? So we're consumers. As consumers, we go to the store, we buy something, and we expect it to work, right? And if it doesn't work, we go back and we complain, or we go on the internet and asking and writing emails to support, or maybe tweet about something that doesn't work, what you paid for, and well, you have expectations of. And with open source, that's a little bit different because, well, this is a product made by, I don't know how many people at this point, over the many years with many features. And yes, there will be bugs. And yes, with the amount of connections we make, there will stuff be breaking. And it's a community effort. And then the new consumer comes by that sniffs for the first time on an open source project and treats it the same way, right? So it's almost like going to us to the store, this doesn't work, and fix it now, kind of demanding. That's also an extreme, by the way, so we're talking extreme right now, right? But that's the other side of the story, right? People that do not understand what open source entails. So from many sides, you have people that don't understand how this works and or what we are doing, and there are many people that do understand it, and many people that that's the bigger audience, right? The larger part of our audience understand it. That's our community, and that's the people that are just awesome at helping out, and like guys like you help grow the project as well, right? You make podcasts or YouTube videos, and that's because we all like the open source project. That's how simple it is.
Was it ever it's a very small portion of people that obviously the gripers. Was it ever compounded the minute Nabu Casa started kind of opening up the possibility of the $5 a month for the cloud? Did then people then feel, well, I'm really entitled now? Not only is it open source, but now I'm paying $5, therefore give me what I want.
Yeah, sure. Some people wrote that. There are also people that are having all kinds of theories that we're going to commercialize Home Assistant, which is pretty darn hard with an open source project and would be pretty darn stupid, in my opinion. So I would not worry about that. But those are all kinds of theories, right? Everybody has their opinion and their stories and thought on how it would go for the future. And they express that. And well, that's part of the internet as well nowadays, right? We express everything and people say what they think, even though it's maybe not true, and more people start to think the same way, and well, there we go. But in the end, I think we have a great project and we're doing great things. I'm having fun, and I think that's for me, that's the main point. It's exhausting, I'm going to be honest. Like, doing open source is like running a marathon, especially with the COVID-19 pandemic. It has been really, really busy times in the open source world. A lot of people contributing, a lot of people at home doing home automation, and but it's fun. It's fun to do. It's just I don't know. I just love what I do. I love doing it. I'm happy and thankful I can do this every day.
That's good.
That's the most important and the most thankful thing.
No, that's good. It's good to hear. The energy management update then that went live, I think it's fantastic. I think it's absolutely, I'm dying to see what the potential is, because I think this is the start of something bigger. So I said to the guys, for the listeners, I said to the guys before we started recording, I work within the energy sector within the UK, within smart metering and smart grid. So I've got a real vested interest around net zero carbon, sorry. And that's something I'm very, very passionate about. So when this got announced, my mind was blown with the possibilities of what we can do here, because what you guys are offering does not exist. It just doesn't. The pull requests of the grid, the solar, the devices, I've never seen anything like this. So I think certainly in the UK, this is pretty groundbreaking with what you guys are doing. And I know it's early doors. Yep. But Lewis, are you going to be jumping all over this?
Yeah, I was.
Because that screen behind you must be getting off some amount of power.
Well, you're 62, right?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. So you were asking us about our smart homes, if they're like the gold standard. So have you got like the gold standard of energy monitoring at your house? So
no, and I think that's why I'm so excited about this, because as I said, it doesn't exist. I mean, what you have in the UK, and I don't want to bother people. In the UK right now, there's a UK mandate that the government has mandated. Every supplier must, well, it used to be installed, must now offer their customers a smart meter. It's mandated as a legal requirement, they must do it. So at some point in time, the entire United Kingdom will have a smart meter in every single property that will then feed and provide digital data back into the grid to be a smart grid, which is exactly what the energy management dashboard is kind of looking at. So for a while, I've been looking around, how do we take a smart meter within the UK and do something with the data? Because at the moment, all that data goes into what's called the DCC within the UK. It's a centralized government facility. That data is taken away from you, and you can see it on a display, but you can't do anything with it. I think what you guys are doing is actually unlocking the potential for, you have this data, it's data insight that is valuable. It's not just data about your usage. Actually, you can make decisions and automations off the back of that data. And that's the exciting part for me.
Yeah, actually, like there's so many data you get from your solar panels. Like,
yeah,
you could actually tell something about like the luminosity outside, right? From how much your solar energy is like produced, right? So you could say something about clouds, and you could say something about maybe your lighting at home. Like you could put a light sensor outside, that would be much easier. But there's a lot of data and things you can do with that. And I think whatever your goal is, like there are many people maybe doing it for like environmental reasons, and there are like a lot of theories around that, and I'm not going into that political part, but if that is your thing, then this will help. But if you're just saving a buck or two, sure, this is your thing as well. And if you just like the data, I like to automate with that, then this will help with that as well. So I'm not like, I think this is like the holy grail in terms of energy, in terms that we can work with so many different devices and so many different integrations, like so many different countries and solar systems, and bring it all together and then do something like this, whatever your goal behind it is, environmental or money or whatever. Then yeah, I think this is cool. Charge your car whenever the sun shines, and when you know the forecasting of the solar is like in the afternoon, then maybe you should charge your car at that time, and then you could use for something else in the morning. But those kind of things, I think those are the automations for the future, for saving a buck or doing something good for the environment.
I agree. And I think that goes, if I was to go back to answer the question earlier on, we spoke about what's the perfect smart home. Yes, the dashboard's one on the wall, but ideally it would be a smart home where it's feeding you with all that kind of data around, this is the tariff at this point in time, this is what you used, this is the devices we turned on because the device was at the cheapest. That just doesn't exist right now, and I think if we get there, it'd be great, because right now, and I don't want to labour the point about the UK right now, but with the smart meter at the moment, all you see is your usage. That's it. What is the point of a smart meter right now? Because all you can see is of the usage.
Cool about this feature is, right, like this is the beginning of the dashboard, and you could actually say like, yeah, but you could already do all those automations, Frank. What are you whining about? But now at this point, all these integrations and companies and people maintaining those integrations are like, hey, but my integration doesn't work with the dashboard yet. Right. So what they're actually starting to do is like improving that thing and opening PRs and pull requests to the Home Assistant contribute code that improve that integration to work with the dashboard and to improve the overall integration. So we're seeing a big jump now in new integrations for energy, or improving existing energy integrations. And that's not even for the dashboard, just for general. That's just a good thing for everybody. So I think there's a lot of side effects, right, to all of this. But do you have like solar panels already, and do you work with smart meters? So you have a smart meter, Lee, or?
So like, no, there's no point having solar in Scotland, because the one day a year that we get sun, it would charge, and then it'd be done for 350 odd days. But yeah, I've got a smart meter.
And you can hook it up already, or
no? So again, although it's mandated that you must, every customer or consumer should have one, it's siloed with that supplier, so you can see you're provided with a little. It's almost like a little phone you're given. You can see your usage, you can see your tariff. That's it. That's all you can do with it.
It doesn't have a blinking light.
It does. The meter actually does have a blinking light. It does. So I could use your LED counter.
The glow, the class.
Oh,
yeah, I could use the glow. But again, that defeats the purpose. If I want a smart meter, you want the full. That the data is there. The question is, I think we should be posing back to the suppliers, and it's something I may take away and speak to my employer about. Is, as a supplier, how do we open up that data to consumers?
Yeah, we're lucky in the Netherlands and in Belgium as well, and in Luxembourg. We have the DSMR standard in our meters, and I believe in 2 years, the Netherlands actually everybody has to have a smart meter. So it's not offered, but actually a requirement. But it has like a little port you can plug into. And with a little ESP chip, I showed it on stream yesterday.
Yeah.
You can just plug it in, and voila, it's an ESP home device. It's made by Marcel. You just plug it in, and you get all the data you could dream of, like current power usage every 10 seconds, and the energy usage and the meter values. And mine hooks up to my gas meter, which is we heat our houses with gas here. That's normal. So we have a gas meter, but that's already wireless hooked up to my energy meter as well, to my power meter. So I get that data. That's really cool that the data is just accessible for everybody. And I hope that something like that will happen for you guys as well, right?
Yeah, I mean, the only supplier I'm aware, and there are other suppliers, I'm certainly not promoting one over the other, is Octopus Energies. I know Mark Deacon over at Technology for Life, he recently went for Octopus Energy because they do give you that open API to get the information out your meter. But it's the only supplier in the UK that I'm aware that do it, and I don't know why, but there's a concern around allowing consumers to have free access to their data. which they can already see, you're then just allowing them to tap it into their devices. Yeah, I don't get it, because they communicate with Zigbee anyway. So there's a Zigbee network being used in the smart meter.
Right.
Yeah, strange.
Lewis, are you're in Scotland too, right? So no solar panels, or?
Yeah, I'm even further north in Scotland. So yeah, definitely. I don't even get the 1 day of solar panel use.
Boy.
So no, I don't have any energy monitoring in my house, but seeing the energy monitoring stuff that you did, it just makes you want to just get into it. And in particular, that the little graphic, the animated graphic that's on the dashboard, that just sells it for me. That just makes me.
In case you have watched the stream party yesterday, that was my actual production instance, and that was actually my solar panel, my power usage. I really cool. I got something in my system that works. I don't realize. So
Lewis, I actually started pricing today. This is how sad I was, not because I really cared about solar power, but just because I wanted to try and do something with the new add-on, foldable solar panels. So I was Googling today about foldable solar panels, and they start price-wise around $250, and they go up to thousands. But I thought, is it worth buying a foldable solar panel just to integrate the Home Assistant?
Take them out into the garden.
Just to get
2
like
or
a
3
little bit
days
of energy, right?
Just a little bit.
Just so that the graph shows, so you can use it, right? Just something.
That's it. That's how dedicated you are to Home Assistant.
I already got somebody who requested, I think it was on Twitter, he sent me a message, like, can you make like a featural solar panel, something that simulates it? So you get an idea what it would be if you have a solar panel, what it would produce for your location. Like, I think it's a fun idea, but it's like not real, right? I don't know.
That's what I spent today doing, was actually simulating all of the energy data, so that I can make content about it. So yeah, I had to work out how to simulate to simulate power data. So yeah.
Well, maybe we should figure something out. I could maybe send you my solar panel data or something.
I just used an automation that runs every minute, and then used a random number generator to just pump in some data into the sensor.
I'm not looking forward to that video, by the way.
So like there's data there, but it's just like all over the place. So it doesn't look correct, but there's data there.
But I think for you guys, even if like and everybody else, even if you don't have solar, like it looks really cool if you have solar, right? Like that extra graph and those predictions are cool. But if you don't have it, like install as many plugs as possible in your home and find like ways to reduce usage, right? I think that is really useful as well. I've installed many plugs the last weeks, and I've learned that some things are using more power than I anticipated, actually.
Yeah. And I think the older you get, the more you start to care about the lights being left on in the house. And it drives me mad. If lights are on upstairs and no one's upstairs, it's like...
Wait, you don't have them automated?
They have been since I got annoyed with so much. Yeah, just anyway. Yeah, so to me, energy management, Frank, really, really, really good. Is it? And Lewis, probably a question to you. To me, this is probably one of the biggest additions to Home Assistant than this year. But I know you really like ESP Home.
No, you know what it is. I don't know. The year is still going, right? Come on.
No, okay, yeah, okay. To a point where we are at the moment, what's been released so far to me is been the biggest, not of the year, but year to date. To me, it's probably the biggest and the most impressive addition.
I think maybe the last 2 or 3 releases before were maybe more minor ones. Just because there was. I think you were maybe doing more bug fixes. There was still features, just maybe not as big as the energy management one, but yeah, I think it's the biggest one certainly in a couple of releases.
Because ESP Home felt like a big sizable change. I mean, the changes made to that were pretty good. And then this launch, I thought, wow, this is even better. So I'm you've still got another good couple of months left, Frank. I'm excited to see how you're going to.
I don't expect that much, by the way, to be honest, for this year anymore. But that's something we say a lot, you know. But some things just happen. In this case, the energy stuff that's been worked on long, right? We had an intern, a Nabu Casa class actually worked on this for a school project, for a project for us for a school. And we worked it out, and that's how it further developed. So this has been in progress for about 6 months, and the first parts of this energy dashboard stuff has already been in 0.6, 2021.6. So that's 2 releases back. That's where the statistics already were introduced, but not opened up in the UI or something. So if you're now, and we reset it at 0.7. So if you go use the new statistics stuff and the energy dashboard, you can actually go back in date. And if you had your sensors already and they were compatible already, then you would have already a month worth of data, which is kind of weird because we just released it, right? So there has been a lot of progress and a lot has been done. And I've been saying the past 2 months already, something big is coming, and that was this. But I don't think it's the biggest. I think that, maybe that's me, and depends on who you ask. I believe Paul.
It's going to be very subjective, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. And I think Paulus would probably at this point say the same. He is really into this energy stuff, and I think it's really good. I think it's really important for Home Assistant to have this as a focus. But we have so many more things this year, like the automation debugger.
Yeah, that was a really useful
that was a big thing. It still is a big thing, right? So that's one of the things, and the statistics right now, even though that's a little bit tied in, but I think there's still a lot of things going on that are very important.
Good.
I know the statistics is there's only a couple of releases, but have you seen any sort of direct impact from being able to, have you seen any changes from having those statistics from either companies or from users? So like the Tuya one would maybe be I don't know if that was directly impacted by the statistics. I'm not sure if it's
driven by the statistics. I do know that I use the statistics not to see how many people are using it. Like, that's not how I look at it. Like, not everybody has it enabled, so it's like a relative thing, right? But it can tell something about what's the most used. So if there's a bug report or something coming in that you could possibly fix, or something I could see be fixed, or know somebody that can fix it, then I know it's like the top 10 integration used. That will affect a lot of people, right? So that's something we need to take care of, maybe sooner than something else. But also things that I was not sure of, like, for example, Weather Underground is one of those integrations that recently got removed from Home Assistant because, well, we knew you could not get an API key. We didn't know if there were existing users that had an API key from the old days that could still use it. Well, with the analytics, we now can say nobody can actually use this. So it's zero. It's absolutely not used, and you cannot get new API keys. It's time to clean it up and not keep maintaining it, right? So there are many, many sides of this story where the statistics actually help a lot. The analytics actually help a lot with the decision making, not just for me or for anybody, like any maintainer. It just helps in just the perspective.
Yeah.
But that was a big thing as well this year. So energy was big, definitely big. I hope it gets bigger. And I don't know, the year hasn't passed yet.
No, still plenty to go. So I'm expecting big things from you've
I would really like to know, Lewis, besides the holy grail of presence detection, what would be a big thing you would like to see?
Do you mean in terms of software?
I don't know, anything to Home Assistant or...
This isn't... I'd actually really like to see some Home Assistant hardware. I know obviously you guys have the I know, and this I'm not saying this will ever happen or it's ever going to happen anytime soon, but I'd love to see some Home Assistant hardware. I know you guys obviously have the blue, which Franck is showing off.
Yep.
Still in wrapping.
No, this one has been wrapped and unwrapped a lot.
But even maybe official sensors, things like that, that could sort of have your guarantee that it's gonna work or integrate with Home Assistant. But I'm guessing that would be a long way down the road, if ever. But that's actually something I've been thinking about last while. I would love to see some official hardware.
That would be cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting for Frank to go surprise.
No, I don't have.
I'm trying to lure him out, you know.
I know,
the Shelly and the Philips Hue. So no, nothing like that. But like in general, I would love to. I like what Marcel is doing, for example. Like Marcel, he created like the DSMR thingy sensor for the Dutch energy meters.
Yeah,
he also has.
Cool, yeah.
That's really cool. I made back in the day a doorbell project with an ESP chip to get an ESP home. And Marcel
that's really popular.
Yeah, that thing was really popular. But there's a new variant from it that Marcel made as well, which you can use for any doorbell, and that's also ESP home based. It's just it's not that expensive, and you can just make your existing doorbell smart.
Yeah,
I think we're going to see more of that.
Yeah, that's cool. And you've also got the tag reader as well.
The tag reader, and there's now Atom.tag, like a Chinese manufacturer that actually sells plugs that are pre-flashed with ESP Home and ready to go. That's a new one that's on the horizon. I've seen popping up here and there. So that's kind of nice. Like if you're looking for, I'm not sure if we should actually like from Home Assistant do the hardware that much. There are a lot of people that maybe can do that better, right? We should. I really think the software is an important part, and that's where I've focused. I'm not a hardware guy. I do like thinking out with ESP Home, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe in the future. Right now, at least, everything is hard to get right. Chips.
Yeah.
I hope that actually stabilizes over time.
Interesting. No, I think there's a good shout, Lewis, because the blue was such a success, I think, Frank.
Yeah, way better than we thought, I guess.
Yeah.
But it is a nice device. That's the thing that is created, right? Something that we thought that what would we like to see? What would I have on my desk? What would I be proud to show? And not that plastic case, but something that looks slick and feels decent if you hold it, and that actually runs smooth. And I think that is something that we actually achieved, even though we had like no knowledge of this industry at all.
It seemed to kind of bridge. It filled a little bit of a gap. I always thought. So you had the new entries that started with the Raspberry Pi, like I did, or then you had the pros who went full out VM and blinding systems, etc., NUCs, but there was nothing in between. And the blue seemed to, from a price point, it was more expensive than a Pi, cheaper than a NUC, cheaper than the high end stuff. So it was a nice little entry point for newbies. So I think certainly there was an opportunity there, and you guys bridged that.
Yeah, I think so. There are also a lot of comments like people like it has no radios. Yeah, sure, but it has no Wi-Fi. Of course, it has no Wi-Fi. If I have my ideal home automation system, then it's not connected to Wi-Fi. No, it is wired in. I don't need the Wi-Fi, right? Yeah. And that's how we looked at it. What we did, ideal one. It has no Zigbee. No, there are many Zigbee choices. You should have a choice. And it has no Z-Wave. No, it has no Z-Wave because like the frequency for Z-Wave is different in like every part of the world. So like that's hard to like standardize. And maybe you want to have a choice as well. So it's just focused on one thing, and it's just running Home Assistant.
Yeah.
And it does that out of the box, actually. Which
was it didn't for me, but that's a time for another story.
We feel.
But blue, no, it wasn't the blue. It was the standard version that Ameridroid sold. It wasn't the blue case. It was the standard version.
Know. That's something.
Yeah, it was something they created. Moving on, then, kind of last item I wanted to discuss was we're coming to the tail end of summer for some of us. Some of us had a summer, some yet to have a summer. And smart home news normally does dry up relatively in the summer months. It's normally quite boring for news. But I have felt recently, and I'm curious to get you guys' thoughts, the lack of innovation and it's something I've said it many times in the podcast before. We're at a point right now, I'm struggling to see where is the smart home going. We have Matter, fine. There's a new protocol coming out, but from a device, from a hardware, there's nothing really that's really getting me excited. Now, from a HomeKit point of view, the HomeKit guy is going to say our ecosystem is thriving. There's been so many more devices now are compatible with HomeKit, which is great. From the non-HomeKit people, I feel if it's not an Home Assistant, there's nothing that's getting excited about it. It's very, very dry. And to my point, Amazon this week or last week released, this is how great innovation is these days, released a Wi-Fi enabled touchless soap dispenser, right? So that, guys, if you've not seen it already, it's a touchless soap dispenser with LED lights in the top, which goes for dispenses soap or the LEDs spin for 20 seconds as your indication for how long you need to wash your hands. And if needed, you can piggyback it onto your Alexa speaker to play music for 20 seconds to let you know
happy birthday.
To sing happy birthday to let you know you've washed your hands for 20 seconds. The most ridiculous, pointless smart home gadget.
Are you for real?
Yeah, $55. Currently, even better, Frank, it's currently sold out. So these things are flying off the shelf. Sold out on Amazon.com, $55.
Wi-Fi peak technology right there.
So a Wi-Fi enabled smoked soap dispenser.
It has Wi-Fi.
Yeah, Wi-Fi. They put a Wi-Fi chip in it. Yeah. To me, that is getting to the point. Is laughable now in terms of if that's where we're at with smart home gadgets. What does the future have in store for us, or are we at a point where we've saturated so much, we're just waiting for something new to open up for a whole host of other things? I'll come to you first, Frank, because I can see you're pondering.
I don't know. I'm just thinking about a soap dispenser with Wi-Fi. I'm just stuck with that, actually. Are you going to make a video about that, Lewis? I would love to.
Oh, Lewis, you have to.
I could do it dead serious, just like...
That would be epic. Like, make the damn serious video about the smart soap dispenser. Yeah, I would love to see that.
I don't even know if I could. I don't know if I could drum up enough enthusiasm to actually make a video about that. That is something else.
Yeah, it's a soap. It's a drama. No, actually, it's I don't know. I like it in general. The I think it's quiet, but it's summer period as well. Like it should be quieter. Last year we didn't have that because of the pandemic. And now there's a chip shortage. There's doesn't matter. And and I don't know, but I do think we always had those weird gadgets. I don't know. Is it really something that's just because it's dried up? I think we always had those weird things.
And maybe it's just because it's dried up. This is now top news, possibly. So, for those who you are watching this on YouTube, you will realise I've had a haircut. Frank's not wearing a lovely ski hat. Did you get a haircut as well, Frank?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
and I don't know where my hat is.
The continuity is gone to pot. There's no continuity.
There's no continuity. We could have tried to
Yeah, we should have just wore all the same clothes. Everything just.
So unfortunately, last week during the recording, I had to kind of abruptly stop the recording. My little daughter took ill, so we're back. We're going to wrap up some of the final agenda items. And Lewis, I'm going to come to you first because now things have moved on a couple of days, so it's a little bit out of whack. We spoke about last week the video you're going to do about energy management. It went live today.
Yeah, a couple hours ago. So,
do you want to run through it?
Yeah. So basically, just sort of covered sort of how to configure it and how to get it up and running. Not that there's really too much to do. The guys there have done a great job of sort of making it easy for everyone to do. So yeah, really great job on that. But kind of covered some of I saw a lot of people wondering why their sensors weren't showing up. So I kind of tried to find as much information as I could about that and try and add that in to field some of the questions that it was inevitably going to get. Of, why is my sensor not showing up? Or
how hard is it? How hard is it to? Because you've recorded that relatively. I mean, the energy management is just out. So how hard is it to record a video to give your wisdom on something that's so new? Because it's very good. I think it's fantastically done. I'm just amazed at how you've done it. It's so new.
It's like the community backup is missing there, right? A bit. Like the experience from the community. You are creating the experience for the community.
Yeah. No, for this feature in particular, it was pretty easy because, like I say, you guys have made it so simple to do. It's all done through the UI. There's no config files to explain or anything like that. So really easy. So yeah, basically, as soon as last week's release was came out, like 3 minutes later, I was updating, and then the hardest bit for me was actually trying to just get all the data simulated because I don't have any of the sensors in my house, so I had to come up with a simulator to generate all the data, which took a little bit of time. So, but yeah, other than that, it was a pretty straightforward one.
Brilliant, that's superb. It was very, very good. Cool. Frank, what have you got on? What's the hotness?
Well, for me, like the last couple of days, like we talked about, like the first part of this recording a bit, right? Like how I try to spend my Sunday and then always like track off and then not get into my actual home project. Well, last part of the recording actually made me think like I'm going to try this again, and I'm going to like hold on the idea that I am actually going to do something for myself. So I did last Friday, actually, not Sunday, but Friday. And I actually went in my home all day, and I've been cooking up automations and got stuff working and fixed, and I'm actually pretty proud. And I wrote down stuff I came across that I thought, well, that I should improve, and I left it at that. And it's kind of good. I kind of liked it. You guys kind of pushed me into that. Like, no,
good.
Like, just happened. Kind of nice.
It is hard. I think we all know the Home Assistant people. We have this big list of projects, and it's always growing. And you see something new on Twitter, and you think, right, I'll do it. But when you're busy with work, etc., trying to get the time to actually to be very focused with it is hard. And actually, what I find the hardest thing is when I do get the time, it's prioritizing what it is I actually want to work on. And it's just this. It's very, very hard. So right, I mean, a couple of weeks ago, I was working on the NFC tag reader. It went completely tits up. So I'm now thinking, right, will I revisit that, or will I go to something else? Because I've spent some time in that. Then I want to. So it's difficult juggling all these projects.
And it's so easy to like fall into the making it too difficult.
Yeah.
Like making it extra overcomplicated. At least for me, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. There was a video from Lewis lately about like the common mistakes. I guess you did a video on that, which had a couple of common mistakes, but this was one that I missed, which I realized last Friday myself. It's like, why do I make it so complicated? Like after 2 or 3 hours on one automation, that thing is huge, by the way. I think I have the most complicated and advanced kitchen lighting. At this point, there exists like almost 400 lines of automation.
Yeah,
one single automation, and it's like you can make it so complicated. I think that's I don't know. I'm still debugging that thing. So
yeah, I'm the same. It's there's so many ideas floating around in your head, but only so limited time to get to them. And then you kind of forget the ones that you had come up with, and then you start moving on to other ones, and then you're like, oh wait, I thought about doing this like 2 weeks ago, and then you try to go back to do that, and I should actually start writing them down.
So you mentioned in the first part of the thing, like one of your like holy grails is the presence detection, right? For me, that's not presence detection because, well, I have an alarm system and use that, which actually helps pretty much.
Yeah.
So for me, actually, it was the thing between and manually overridden. I think that's for me, and motion detection, the combination of those three. Like you want to have areas where you walk in and then respond that somebody enters the room, right? But you also want to like respond to things like lights outside, like how many luminosity there is outside. But you also want to, in this case, it's the kitchen. If I'm cooking dinner or cleaning the kitchen, you want to like put in such a mode, right? And then you want more brighter light, but you don't want to like get the automation for the motion sensing jumping in at that point. And if I dim it because I want to dim it, I don't want the motion sensor to like trigger some other scene after that. I think for me, that's kind of like the complicated magic that I'm always struggling with. And the same thing is for if I call out to Google Home saying turn on the kitchen light, then it should not turn it off because it didn't detect motion. So for me, that's always the struggle, and I took the kitchen Friday to fix that.
And I suppose with that level of complexity, that's what makes it a little bit more living. Because it's not just a sequence of events. If you do something and something happens, it's something happens, but there's all this activities in the background which trying to come into play depending on what the scenario is like.
Right. But we all want to have automations that are not getting in the way.
Yeah.
So if I go into the kitchen and press the button, I want the light to go on because I pressed that button and not turn it off again. But if I walk into it that evening, I want to have a little bit of light, right? So I think that's
where the choose action has been sort of a game changer, is allowing you to do so many different things that weren't possible before. And yeah, like you say, they do really make the automations really complicated, but at the same time, you get something that you could never have achieved before. It's so easy as well.
Yeah, that's cool about this kind of home automation, right? If you just wanted to have a light that turns on a motion sensor, you would not have to run all of this, right? You can just get a Philips Hue motion sensor and a Philips Hue bulb, and then you're done. But it's like a combination of things. You want to be more smart, and that's where it's so easy to become overcomplicated.
It is, and it's so easy to become obsessed with all the different layers and how many layers you can keep applying.
Yeah, I've been finding that with doing an alarm as well. So I've always had an alarm since I've had Home Assistant, but I recently got a Zigbee keypad, and so adding that in with and then doing loads of different stuff based on the keypad is it's getting complicated as well. But I think it's like Frank says, you have to maybe step back from it occasionally and just think, why am I doing it this way or doing it so complicated? And then you come up with a better way to do it, or it's fun.
Yeah, great, brilliant. Right, before we move on to your mystery questions,
we have those still.
We still have those. We touched on it. I think in part one. It feels so long ago. Matter and the Home Assistant involvement, or the view. Frank, obviously, what did the team think? Are you keeping an eye at this stage? Do you care? Do you need to care given how Home Assistant operates?
I think it's a bit different on who you ask. If you ask me, I'm a bit more the skeptical guy.
Yep.
But sure, we keep an eye on it. Like
yeah.
We Eric is currently from Nabu Casa, also working on Home Assistant. Is actually keeping an eye on it more close. We got the first PR merged with Matter even. To make sure we are ready and at least explore and have some knowledge up front, right? Whatever happens. If you're asking me, then I'm the more skeptical one.
Yep. I think me and Lewis are as well, given the nods we are here.
Sure. Yeah, but it's just, I don't know, man. For me, it really, and the joke is made a lot, so it's barely original. But for me, it doesn't matter. It's I don't know. I want to see it happen. Secondly, I think all those big companies involved, I hope they can pull it off. They certainly have the brains and the capacity to pull it off together. They're the biggest one for a reason. But they also all, I'm pretty darn sure, have their own agendas.
Yeah.
So in the end, I'm not sure if they all will be interoperable unless they choose or certify each other or something. That's maybe a tinfoil hat, right? But just one of the fears I have. And I don't know if I look at Philips Hue, for example, they're like screaming from the mountaintops they're going to support Matter. But if you look in the end, they're adding Matter to their hub and not to their devices. So you still need that darn hub to. I don't know. It feels so fake, and I hope they pull it off. In the end, I think we, the users and the Home Assistant project, we all will profit from it if they pull it off, right?
Yeah.
I think if this was the first time that we were seeing something like this that was an open standard that is going to support every device, then I think a lot of us would be a lot more receptive to it. But since this is not the first standard that we're seeing, that I think that's why a lot of us are a lot more skeptical.
Which is a real shame, because every time I read about it or I kind of watch, I don't know, the conference, or I hear speakers and interviews about it, I get really quite excited to think this is going to be really, really good. And it's when that stops, you take a seat back and you kind of reflect to think, just like Frank, you've touched on, these companies all have an agenda. Smart home devices have a life cycle. They can only last for so long. We're being forced to come to the end of the current cycle purely because Matter's been introduced. At some point in time, will Matter then finish and a new one will join in? Is this just a bridge to now, which I think, and I've aired it a few times, this is just a bridge to introduce more purchasing, more consumer? You need this device because you know interoperability with other devices. I don't want to be skeptical, but you can't help but.
I hope they manage. That's
yeah.
all.
You're right.
Yeah.
I think we all do. We all do. We all hope it's a success.
In my head, the only thing that goes on my head every time I hear about Matter, I'm thinking XKCD. That's 927 from my head. The strip 927.
Yeah,
I think
there are now 16 standards.
Yeah, that one. And and it's maybe not fair. I think there's a lot of noise around the project, the chip / Matter, and I'm not sure if it's because of the hype or because it's real, or I don't know.
I think it needs some sort of almost like a third party that actually does the certification, sort of like how there's like the Wi-Fi Alliance that certifies if it's, that sets the standards for Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi 5. I think there needs to be that sort of thing, just some sort of third party that's actually going to have a level head and not do things for their own agenda. Yeah,
and I think that's the problem with right now with the CSA, Connectivity Standards Alliance, having the full control and bankrolled by the big players. At some point in time,
the problem is
the big players will say, we're not happy anymore. As we fund you, we'll change. We'll change how we operate within this.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. I think, to be fair, the number of times I've mentioned Matter on this podcast, and it will only continue as Matter starts to approach us. So, watch this space. Okay. On to the mystery questions.
I need to go. I see.
You're breaking up.
I struggled with this one. I don't know why this for this episode I was thinking, I need to come up with something a little bit different. And I've switched them actually. I had one I was going to give to you, Frank, and give to Lewis. I've now switched it and played a little about with it slightly. So Lewis, I'll come to you first, and I'm going to try and open up.
This is bad.
Oh no.
I'm going to see if I can do this. This is the first time I've used one of these Zoom apps as a wee productivity timer.
I was genuinely hopeful that with the break that you were going to forget about these questions.
Can you see that timer on the screen?
No.
Time.
No, fine. I can see it, which is the main thing. So I'll set a 30-second timer. Okay. So Lewis, you set the bar here in terms of how Frank's then going to respond to his question.
It's going to be really low. It's going to be the lowest bar you've ever seen. So
Lewis, you apply for a job in Nabu Casa. Okay. And Paul's just sitting there in the interview panel. Frank's there in the interview panel. And as part of the interview, they say to you, Lewis, we need you to come up with something, an innovative way to bring more funding into Nabu Casa. Right? We need more money, more coffers. We're trying to kind of play with the big boys. So your idea is that, and this is what I want you to convince Frank in the next 30 seconds, is that
This is so bad.
you keep the $5 month fee for Nabu Casa, but if people don't pay it, you start to take data out of their system. And every time they don't pay their $5, you take more data, and you keep taking and taking and taking. So basically, your pitch to Frank is, you give us your $5, and if you don't give us it, we're going to start keeping your data. And your 30 seconds starts now.
Wait, what? What have I got to explain? Wait, I've got to convince them of this.
You've got to convince them that the Nabu Casa pitch of retaining the $5, but every time somebody doesn't pay the $5, you keep their personal data. To entice them to continue to pay the $5. All right? And it's got to sound convincing. 30 seconds starts now.
I mean, I think that's that's the hardest pit that goes against everything.
Yeah.
It goes, okay, so
You get a gun?
Yeah, I'm sorry. This interview's going haywire, mate. You're not going to get this job.
Well, need a way. Whatever. That's not working.
Right. That was
a
a
kind of interesting pitch, right? It's actually we made this kind of nearly impossible, right? Not nearly, it is impossible. Like everything that Nabu Casa does, we cannot look at the data. Like it leaves encrypted from your system and then goes to the web. So it's end-to-end encrypted.
Mhm.
Even if we wanted to, like, no.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Lewis, mate, sorry, that interview did not go too well. I don't think you're going to get the job. Right, Frank, onto your question.
Well, actually, he refused, so I'm kind of proud of him, to be honest.
yes, I was going to start pitching the other way. I was going to be saying, actually, I don't want this job. If that's the direction you're going to be taking.
So I would be remiss if I didn't mention at least once the size of Lewis's guns. And when I'm talking about guns, I'm talking about his muscles, because it's been mentioned a few times on Twitter. He's got pretty big upper arms. So keeping that in mind.
Do you work out, by the way, mate? Like, do you like?
I've been known to occasionally.
Good for you,
So
mate.
with that in mind, and Frank, do you used to do a lot of 3D printing? Do you still do 3D printing?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Smash those together. And Frank, your pitch to Lewis, you say to him one day, listen, Lewis, quit the gym, 3D print your muscles and stick them on. You've got 30 seconds to convince Lewis why he needs to quit the gym and just 3D print his muscles. Go.
Boy, how do you sell that? This is
How
the
did you-
weirdest question ever, mate. Do you have TPU? That will probably be the best for this, right? Make them a
Flexible.
little bit squeezy. Oh, no. He shouldn't.
Just no.
It's just no. No. I like 3D printing for my I don't know. Why do people 3D print, actually?
Yeah, there's your time up. Honestly, worst guess so far with answered the questions. Shocking.
Where did you get those questions?
That's what
How do you come up with this?
That's what I'm saying. It was hard to come up with them for you, but there you go. That's what I managed to come up with.
No, you should just go to the gym. I'm actually trying to pick up a bit of sports again. Like, been really slacking that the past year during the pandemic, which is really bad.
I mean, to be fair, I think it's hit everyone pretty much very hard. So, yeah, you're certainly not alone.
Probably not. So I think it's good to pick it up.
No, that's
Absolutely.
good for you.
It's always the hardest thing, I think, this is going to off on a bit of a tangent. The hardest thing, I think, is starting it. But see, once you start it and you get into the rhythm, it flows relatively easier. Well, it should, if you're doing the right things, because you then kind of want to do it. No.
You know what, in my opinion, is the hardest part of doing like exercising? Changing the outfit. No, it is, for real. Think about it. Once you go and you changed, like put on your running shoes or whatever you do, right? That's the moment you switch and you're actually going to do it. So actually changing the outfit to go exercise, I think, is the hardest part.
So
I
if you
suppose that's
set,
like I suppose it's like people trying to work from home. You know, they're not. Going to an office would be like changing your outfit. You know, that's how you start your day of work.
Yeah. Well, it sets the mood, right?
that's a good point. So if you set a schedule every day, at a set time, stick your gym clothes on, and
Yeah, but you still have to do it. Like, you can't ignore the timer. But as soon as you like change your clothes, you're past that point for yourself that you made the decision to go to do it, right? And you're actually doing it. I don't know. Like, it's not like you're going to change up and then think, well, I don't know. You go to the gym and then think, no, I'm going back. It's not happening in general, right? So
it's a fair point, though. That's a wee kind of golden nugget at the end there. Thanks, Frank.
yeah, really home automation style ending, right?
Right. Well, there's nothing else from me, lads. So if there's anything else from you, anything final words of wisdom before we wrap up?
I want to know one thing from both of you.
It's not another random question.
No, I'm not that weird ass. Come on, that's not. No, like, we had like a pre-announcement. Like, we talked, like, should we do a podcast and stuff, and then we did the recording and we broke a bit, and then we're now continuing. So there has been like a contact with us guys, like, for a week, 2 weeks, something ish, 2 weeks, good 2 weeks. What's the coolest thing you did in your own home in the past 2 weeks for home automation? What everybody else should probably do as well. What are your, like, have changed, have added, like, a new automation, new device? Doesn't matter.
I've not done any home automations. I've been playing a lot with WLED, which I'm just obsessed with. And I'm buying strips of WS812s and don't even need them, just for the sake of. I'm making up places to put them because I think they're so cool. So I think my biggest thing is WLED and trying to build those into automation. So none of my WLED have any automations; they're just switches. So I'm trying to think of something that I turn into an automation. So the recent installment was I run a strip, and as I'm pointing here, you won't be able to see it, around my garden, in the decking, around the decking and the rest of the garden. And I've got some motion sensors at the back, which are just the Xiaomi ones. And what I intend to do is, based on motion at certain points of night time, is to have them flashing different effects depending on what night it is.
That's pretty cool.
So in my thinking is, say for example, between 9 and 11, when it's relatively early late, they would just flash, because the likelihood is it's probably myself or a family member in the garden. Come midnight to 3 to 4, when the likelihood is nobody should be in the garden, they would be a bit more startling, a bit more effects. And actually what I thought was, if I could run the effect, that the light would start down the garden and run to where it spotted the presence. So, and it would stop at that presence detector. So it would almost like a red light that would run all the way along the garden and stop exactly where it found where it spotted the detection.
This is slowly getting in the part where we talked about it earlier, right?
Yeah.
Too complex.
I know. It's for the Sunday. I'll do it on a Sunday.
Do it on Sunday.
Do it on Sunday.
Probably. I'm looking forward to the tweet though. Like a little thing that happened. Let me know.
I will do. Yep.
Something at least. And you, Lewis?
Yeah, I think mine is maybe in the last 2 weeks. I've been doing a lot of the Ambilight stuff. So that's LED based as well. So it's funny how they're both LED based. But yeah, I really like the Ambilight stuff. And it's good being able to automate that as well. When the TV goes off, make sure that they're turned off, because it's easy to forget that whole thing is just turned on, where you forget to turn it off. So
can the Pi run off the USB power from the TV, or does it need a separate power?
It's all done through one power supply for the LED strip and the Pi.
Okay.
Right, you need to power that one too, right?
Yeah. Okay.
You could probably run it, but you need to make sure there's a common ground between the LEDs and the Pi. Otherwise, they'll do you'll get an epileptic fit from the
sorry, Frank.
To have the power output as well, right? There's some have those USB ports that are like can have a hard drive or something.
Yeah.
Those generally have a little bit more power, probably
Yeah.
enough to power something else. But
Yeah, some of them are like 0.9 amps or something like really low.
The only TV that we've got wall mounted is sadly not a Philips Ambilight TV. So I've always thought I quite fancy doing your guide. Is it Hyperion? It's called.
Yeah.
Fancy doing it, but again, I would need to then start fishing cables into the wall and plastering. I thought, yeah, that's way down the project list.
Well, when I put up my wall mounted TV, I got one of those when I was putting the plug on the wall. You get the plugs with the USBs in them. So it's a double plug, but it's also got 2 USB ports on it as well,
Yep.
which is really handy for doing that.
Okay. I might look into that. Cool.
I have a couple of those Samsung TVs, and I'm really happy with those in general, especially because I managed to block the commercials they put into the menu.
Oh my God, those are crazy.
Yeah, that's insane, by the way, still. But different subject. Nevertheless, I'm happy with Tizen in general, but as a matter of fact, I do everything to Tizen on a TV itself, right? So any of those projects are just so cool, but I would need to have an external device to do my smart stuff, which makes no sense. So
yeah, I use the Google TVs, the new Chromecast on my Samsung one. But yeah, a lot of people have said about the built-in. There's some, if you have an Android TV, there's some screen capture stuff that works, but it doesn't work on like Netflix on the copyright stuff, which takes away from a lot of it. So.
It's so cool to see. I often see those little movies and clips on Twitter and sometimes
movies are really cool. Yeah,
it looks so nice. I love that, but I'm not buying a new TV for that. Right?
No.
But yeah, or a different setup for that matter. But it is cool. So yeah,
cool.
Well, other than that, I think alarms and sirens is the thing I've been working on for the last 2 weeks. I got a Zigbee siren as well.
Oh,
all right. That's sport added.
Yeah, but I'm using CHA. Yeah, and I've been looking at Zigbee to MQTT, thinking, maybe I should move over.
Sirens yet?
Yeah, I don't know if you've heard if it's coming soon or.
I've not seen anything.
No idea. Yeah.
No.
It does work. It actually does work at the moment, but there's like when you use the service in Home Assistant, there's like some checkboxes for, I think it's level and intensity, and then I read the spec sheet of the siren, and it says it supports levels 1 to 6 and intensity 1 to 3. But they're actually reversed, so I don't know. I don't know which.
This is the hell of Home Assistant, right? And everything that's connected in the smart home, they all do it like a little bit different.
Yeah. None of them follow the.
It's part of the fun.
The standard.
Part of the fun.
Oh well, we should develop a standard, maybe.
Yeah, there are 17 standards.
Just doing a Sunday.
Yeah, it's a Sunday job. That
Sunday
job.
Yeah.
Great, guys. Well, thank you very much, and again, appreciate you guys coming back for part 2 a week later. So it's been really a good time doing this recording.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
It's been great. Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, I'd love to be able to talk to you guys, and especially Lewis. Like, I've looked at him a lot, but actually being able to talk to him is kind of nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah, likewise. Yes, it's funny that we haven't spoke before this actually.
Yeah, kind of.
I'm like a matchmaker. I'm like Cupid here. I'm Cupid firing.
Yeah, you're like
bringing people together. So, listeners, hope you enjoyed this episode. For those that are watching on YouTube, this will be, I think, the first video on YouTube would have actually got our faces, and I'm gonna just put a wee logo up. So I'm gonna go for it.
That's
honored
just from us. That's just you, mate. Like,
yeah, that's true. This will be the first time my face is on YouTube. You guys are.
Yeah.
Your mugs all over the place. Great, guys. Thanks very much.
Yes. Okay, thank you, mate.
Cheers.
You.